W5FC. ARRL NTS Net nightly at 6:30 p.m. W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. My name is Brenda, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic. We encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? Is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmission. This weekly net operates on 146.88 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. You can now check into the net electronically by going to the club website, w5fc.org. Look for tonight's announcement, and click on the hot link to check in. We will acknowledge you on the air, and don't worry, if you want to check in via voice, we will continue to do that too, either over air and Echolink. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. That is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements. 2, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. 3, National Space Society events. 4, recent astronomical discoveries. 5, discussion topic of the evening. 6, what's up. 7, space exploration and space history. 8, constellation of the week. 9, space launches of the week. 10, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. 11, astronomical Q&A, and 12, 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So I'm going to call on my alternate net control, Tom, KE5ICX, if you would please do the check-ins. Go ahead, Tom.
KJ5 HMA. My name's Todd, and I'm in East Dallas. Kilo Juliet 5, Hotel Mike Alpha. Sorry.
This is Kilo Golf 5 Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton in my hot garage.
Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot India, WV4MFI, Ted Dallas Low Power.
This is Alpha Golf, Niner, Sierra Golf, Antonio in Dallas.
Whiskey 5, Bacon, Weather, Tornado, W5BLT, Bill in Garland. Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
This is
5 Hotel Mike Uniform, Owen in Dallas.
This is Alpha Golf 5, Papa Mike, old school check-in. I don't like the self-check lane. AG5 PM, Rich and Rockwell.
This is Kilo India 5 Zulu Oscar Echo, Tommy in Balch Springs.
Kilo 5, Mike Charlie Delta, Cody, who can never find the URL, in Dallas.
This is
5 Echo November. Eric in Plano, also an old school check-in.
This is Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra Gus, far northeast Dallas.
This is Alpha 5 Alpha Hotel Robert Richards.
Golf 5 Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, KG5 USR Jacob Dallas.
Kilo Juliet 5 Charlie Golf Tango, James in Dallas.
Call Kilo Juliet 5 Hotel Mike Uniform.
That is Kilo Echo 5 Echo November. Eric in Plano.
Whiskey 5 bacon, lettuce, tomato, just a recheck. Whiskey 5 bacon, lettuce, tomato, Bill.
Tom. I really appreciate that. This is WB50ZL. Okay, do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These could be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike. Tony, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Brent. Appreciate your being here. And yeah, as people said on Echolink, you do sound really good. I think that your setup for Echolink is doing very well right now. The Afterglow movie tonight is Contact from 1997. Yes, we're in contact with Brenda by Echolink, but maybe you need a bigger antenna. Maybe you need the biggest antennas that there are. If you love antennas and have a strong sense of wonder, and you like good acting, this is your movie. Yes, it's long. You won't have time to watch it before we discuss it, but you probably have seen it already. If not, we'll try to talk you into seeing it. Contact from 1997. Of course, that net, which takes place at about 10:30 plus or minus 5 minutes, is not our only other net this weekend. We have a meeting on the air tomorrow at 7 p.m., a Racy's net tomorrow at 8 p.m., and a Ham Fixins net, the second helping, on Monday at 7. I hope you'll join us for all those nets, although I recommend you eat before Ham Fixins. Talking about food on the radio if you're hungry is a little tough. I will be doing something interesting this week. I will be reprising, giving again, my popular presentation on getting start with amateur radio fox hunting. I'll be doing that this Thursday, August 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Irving Amateur Radio Club meeting. This is at the bingo hall where we have the Ham Fest, although it's in the smaller bingo hall off to one side, not the big main bingo hall. Hey, there's no smoking there anymore, and the smell is just about entirely gone. That's this Thursday at 7 p.m. At the Betcha Bingo Hall. More information at irvingarc.org. The Dallas Amateur Radio Club is also having a really great lecture and lab this month. It's Saturday, August 24th. For $35, you get to add some bells and whistles to a high-performance power supply kit. This can run both your 100-watt HF station and your 100-watt VHF station at the same time without having a voltage sag or without getting too loud. There's 20-ish kits available, first come, first serve, again, about $35. More details at w5fc.org. That's the fourth Saturday, August 24th. We all want one. Get there early. And that's all I've got. Back to net, NT5TM.
Tony. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 3 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central, you can check into the National AMSAT net. Learn all about amateur satellites and how you can use them in amateur radio. The National AMSAT net will bring the most up-to-date information on amateur satellites currently in use or new ones coming online. You will need Echolink installed and be registered. You will find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston. 2 local nets are available in Dallas. Both of these nets encourage active check-ins. You can ask questions of the net control as well as others checked in. AMSAT-Net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.88 megahertz, TL 110.9 megahertz. States. Tom, N5HYP, is the net control. All are welcome to check in. First Tuesday of the month is DARC ClubNet, so no AMSET East that night. Dallas AMSET Net West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.14 megahertz, PL 110.9 megahertz, positive offset. Search City Simulation at 8 p.m. Learn all about emergency radio communications via CERT-trained amateur radio operators. Melissa, KF5GRH is usually the net control. Visit the most disaster-prone city in the universe every Friday. Search City, all are welcome. Saturdays are the night of nets, where we keep the airwaves buzzing until midnight. The lineup: TechNet, 7 to 8 p.m. Q&A on all things ham radio related. There's also a swap meet, Rookie's Corner, news and information, and ham radio events and contests. Alternating net control each week. Net from 9 to 10:30. Astronomy, space, and exploration are the topics. Also news and information, satellite passes, and constellation of the week. This popular net about ham's second most favorite hobby, astronomy. Alternating net controls. Alternate Afterglow movie net from 10:30 to midnight. Will it be a hit or the dreaded miss? Thumbs up or thumbs down? You make the call. We watch an assigned science fiction movie and then review it for about 90 minutes. We discuss characterization, special effects, music, and answer the question, will I dare watch this movie ever again? Everyone is welcome to check in, even if you haven't seen the movie, which actually might be a plus. And I'd like to add that I never pick the movies to speak what everybody says. First and third Sundays at Dallas Amateur Radio meeting on the air. Moral Tell Us. Also learn about the club that maintains this popular repeater, the Dallas Amateur Radio Club. Club news and information, events, activities, including club meetings, lecture and lab, public service events, contests, and general discussion. Everyone can check into this net. Every day, the ARRL net, National Traffic System Training net, every night at 6:30 p.m. Central. Learn how message traffic is handled on this formal training net. Newbies are welcome to check in, as this is a training. PS also conducts an evening net on the Irving WA5 CKF repeater, 1 megahertz at 9:30 p.m. We're welcome to check in on any or all of. So tonight's movie is Contact from 1997. I'm going to ask Tom, KE5 ICX, if he'll please accurate synopsis of this movie.
Yeah, thank you, Brenda. I will do that. And quickly. Miss Drubin stood at the front door of SETI. She was easy to spot as her cat, Miss Kolostfi, was cradled reluctantly in her arms. Dr. Arroway sighed. It was Druin's second surprise visit this week. Arroway knew what she was here for. "Druin," the cat lady said, "I know you're in there. Open the door." Yep, she knew. Arroway had used the powerful VLA to send a message to a local star group. It was a message of some importance, mainly that the alien civilization's car warranty was about to expire. But she also knew the signal would interfere with the cat lady's TV signal. It was this time, and now Druin was banging on the door, saying, "I can't see Wheel of Fortune. You can't do this to me." It was, of course, the final spin round, and it was her favorite part of the show. Arroway quickly turned the transmitter off, put a large doily over the transmitter console, and opened the door. The cat lady wasn't going to be easy to dissuade. So join us for the Carl Sagan extraterrestrial film, Contact, tonight at 10:30 p.m. That was from 1997. All our favorite actors were young then. Now they're just old. Okay, back to you, Brenda. KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. The Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look to a telescope. I'm going to call on Chaz, W5JHA, to give us some information about that. Go ahead, Chaz.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, everyone. You know, Tom, I must have watched a different movie than you. The Contact I watched was Tom. He's already got the slide up. The next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, August the 23rd. The meeting will be held at 7:30 p.m. in person at the University of Texas at Dallas, and also held on Zoom. The featured program, I'm not sure what it's going to be, and I'm not sure about the topic. Oh, well. The Saturday night public observing sessions continue. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday night so there could be an opportunity for live reports from the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas public observing sessions. On the third Saturday of the month, the stargazing is held at Cedar Hill. Do we have anyone at Cedar Hill that would like to make a report? Come now with your call sign. I'm not sure what they're going to see through the clouds, but I have a good authority that it was a go. They'll see the moon, but I don't know what else they'll see. Maybe a couple bright stars. Okay, you can check the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. This is KF5JJ, back to WB5OZL. Brenda, you do sound great over Echo Lanes. I'm glad you are able to be net control again.
Thank you, Chaz. And I'm so sorry I butchered your call. This boiled down to just getting a new headset, and that fixed everything. So we tried so many different things to fix it, and what's the trick? So I'm happy to be back on the air. So, National Space Society events and activities. I'm going to call on Bill, N5BB, to give us information on that.
Thank you, Brenda. You sound great. This is N5BB, November 5 Bravo Bravo. I am the National Space Society North Texas Section Membership Director and the member at large. The National Space Society is a nonprofit group based in the U.S. which is interested in the exploration and development of space and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. The North Texas chapter of the National Space Society meets at 3:30 p.m. on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. The meeting location is Spring Creek Barbecue on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline Road in Irving. The exception to this is our December meeting, which is normally a holiday party at a different location. On the last Friday evening of each month, at 6 to 8 p.m., the National Space Society North Texas chapter sponsors a local event called Space Rendezvous. The location is Shedder's Restaurant, 700 West Highway 635. Anyone is welcome to attend and discuss human activities in space with us. No membership in any group is required. Our local National Space Society chapter website is ntx.nss.org. Our group also has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the search box and request access. The September monthly meeting of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society will be on Sunday, September 8th at 3:30 p.m. in Irving. Please contact Bill at space@byram.net. That's SPACE at BYROM.net if you have any questions about the National Space Society. Thank you. This is N5BB. Back to net.
This is Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. I'm going to now ask for more check-ins. KE5ICX. Tom, would you please do the honors?
Okay, I don't see anyone new over on Echolink, so Brenda, back to you, KE5I6.
Tom, would you like to read that recent astronomical discoveries for me? My problem is I just have too many boxes open on the screen. It's everything. So I would appreciate it if you would do that. Thank you. This is W50ZL.
Some other thing. I'm doing 10 things at once here. Similar objects tend to be larger than their counterparts and have a similar shape and mass, but reside in less dense environments. The team, which used a machine learning algorithm to analyze millions of galaxies, reports that galaxies found in denser regions of the universe are as much as 25% larger than isolated galaxies. The finding resolve a long-standing debate among astrophysicists over the relationship between a galaxy's size and its environment, but also raise new questions about how galaxies form and evolve over billions of years. A new study has found the major differences between galaxies in these divergent settings. Galaxies with more neighbors tend to be larger than their counterparts, which have a similar shape and mass but reside in less dense environments. In a paper published August 14th, Astrophysical Journal, researchers at the University of Washington, Yale University, and Leibniz Institute for Astrophysics, Potsdam in Germany, and Waseda University in Japan report that galaxies found in denser regions of the universe are as much as 25% larger than their isolated galaxies. The research, which used a new machine learning tool to analyze millions of galaxies, helped resolve a long-standing debate among astrophysicists on the relationship between the galaxy's size and its environment. The findings also raised new questions about how galaxies form and evolve over billions of years. Current theories of galaxy formation and evolution clustered galaxies are larger than their identical counterparts in less dense regions of the universe, said lead author Aritra Ghosh, a W. postdoctoral researcher in astronomy and the LSSTDA Catalyst Fellow with the UW's Direct Institute. That's one of the most interesting things about astrophysics. Sometimes what the theories predict we should find and what the survey actually finds are not in agreement, and so we go back and try to modify existing theories to better explain the observations. Past studies have looked into the relationship between galaxy size and environment, came up with contradictory results. Some determined that the galaxies in clusters were smaller than isolated galaxies. Others came to the opposite conclusions. The studies were generally much smaller in scope based on observations of hundreds of thousands of galaxies. In this new study, Ghosh and his associates utilized a survey of millions of galaxies conducted using the Subaru telescope in Hawaii. This endeavor, known as the Hyper Supreme Carn Subaru strategic program, took high-quality images of each galaxy. The team selected approximately 3 million galaxies with the highest quality data and used the machine learning algorithm to determine the size of each one. Next, the researchers essentially placed a circle, one with a radius of 30 million light years, around each galaxy. The circle represents the galaxy's immediate vicinity. They then asked a simple question: how many neighboring galaxies lie within that circle? The answer showed a clear general trend. Galaxies with more neighbors were also, on average, larger. There's also many reasons why perhaps densely clustered galaxies are simply larger when they are first formed, or they're more likely to undergo efficient mergers with close neighbors. Perhaps dark matter, that mysterious substance that makes up most of the matter in the universe, yet cannot be detected directly by any current means, plays a role. After all, galaxies form within individual halos of dark matter, and the gravitational pull from these halos plays a critical role in how galaxies evolve. Theoretical astrophysics also have to perform more comprehensive studies using simulations and conclusively establish why galaxies with more neighbors tend to be larger. For now, the best we can say is that we confront this relationship between galaxy environment and galaxy size does exist. Utilizing an incredibly large data set like the Hyper Supreme CAM Subaru strategic program helped the team reach a clear conclusion. But it's only part of the story. The novel machine learning tool they used to help determine the size of each individual galaxy also accounted for inherent uncertainties in the measurements of galaxy size. One important lesson that we've learned prior to this study is that settling this question doesn't just require surveying large numbers of galaxies. You also need careful statistical analysis. A part of that comes from the machine's learning tools that can accurately quantify the degree of uncertainty in our measurements and galaxy properties. The machine learning tool that they used is called GAMPN, or Galaxy Morphology Posterior Estimation Network. As a doctoral student at Yale, Ghosh led development in GAMPN, which was unveiled as papers published in 2022 and 23 in the Astrophysical Journal. The tool is freely available online and could be adapted to analyze other large surveys. Though this new study focuses on galaxies, it also forecasts the types of research centered on complete analysis of incredibly large data sets. And this could soon take astronomy by storm. When a generation of new telescopes with powerful cameras, including the Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile, comes online, they will collect massive amounts of data on the cosmos every night. And anticipation, scientists have been developing new tools like this one that can utilize large data sets to answer pressing questions in astrophysics. Very soon, large data sets will be the norm in astronomy, said Ghosh. This study is a perfect demonstration of what we can do with them when you have the right tools. Co-authors in the study were Meg Urry, a professor of physics at University of Yale, Meredith Powell, and a bunch of others. I'm not going to name them all. There's like a dozen people in here. But you can check the article at ScienceDaily.com and find it listed. Back to you, Brenda. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you so much, Tom. All right, on to our discussion topic of the evening, titled, Scientists Just Found Oceans of Liquid Water on Mars. This is from alert.com. It's written by Michelle Starr. Now, a short disclaimer, the picture of a lake on Mars is just an artist concept. That's not, we all know there's no water on Mars. Are literal oceans worth of liquid water hiding out on Mars? There's just one big problem. That water is actually in Mars at depths that are too far below the surface for us to access. That's according to new analysis of seismic data collected by the Mars InSight lander for reservoirs of liquid water are the best explanation. And although that water is out of reach, it is of the aquatic history of our dry, desiccated sea neighbor. Understanding the Martian water cycle is critical for understanding the evolution of the climate, surface, and interior, says geophysicist Sashan Wright of the University of California, San Diego's Scripps Institute of Oceanography. As rovers scurry about the surface of Mars, collecting data on its surface geology, it has become more and more evident that the red planet was once floated with water. Minerals, terrain, and features such as ancient dry lake beds and deltas suggest that Mars was once pretty soggy. There's water on and just below the surface of Mars today, but only in the form of ice and in quantities nowhere near high enough to account for the Martian wetness of eons past. In order to better understand the water history of Mars, knowing where the water went is crucial to understanding how much of it there could have been billions of years ago. There are two places the water could have gone: up in space as it evaporated into gas, or down towards the Martian interior, sequestered either as ice deposits or liquid reservoirs. We have a way of measuring how much water has leaked away into the wild blue yonder. We now have the data needed to prove the gooey center of Mars. Thanks to the Mars InSight lander, it's no longer operational, but between November 2018 and December 2022, it squatted turtle-like on the surface of Mars, watching the hums and rumbles of activity below. Acoustic waves generated by seismic activity inside the planet change according to the density and composition of the material they are moving through. Scientists analyzing the data can make inferences about what that material might be based on the behavior of the seismic wave. Researchers use a geophysical model identical to one used to map underground aquifers and oil fields here on Earth, and employed it to analyze data collected by InSight on Mars. They found that the data are best explained if, on the surface of Mars, there lies a rock of fractured igneous rock. It's a layer of fractured igneous rock, such as granite, whose cracks are filled with liquid water. That layer sits at depths between 11.5 and 20 kilometers, so it's probably not going to be accessible to humans, but it's tantalizing nevertheless. Not only give us a new tool for understanding the Martian water cycle, it suggests that Mars retained a lot of water, with implications for Mars's potential habitability past and present. Establishing that there is a big reservoir of liquid water proves some window into what the climate was like or could be like, says geophysicist Manga of the University of California, Berkeley. And water is necessary for life as we know it. don't see why the underground reservoir is not a habitable environment. It's certainly true on Earth. Deep mines host life. The bottom of the ocean hosts life. We haven't found any evidence for life on Mars, but at least we have identified a place that should, in principle, be able to sustain life. Mars continues to be coy about its water reserves. Previous detections identified, and there are serious questions about water reservoirs lurking below the Martian surface. And InSight data has shown that there's not likely to be much water ice in the upper crust around the lander's location. But if the water-rich layer now detected deeper below the surface were consistent around the inner globe of Mars, there would be enough water to fill ancient oceans and then some, the researchers found. Of course, the findings are not conclusive. To learn more about what Mars is keeping hidden beneath its dusty surface, we'll need further and better observations and analysis. Maybe it's time to consider a new seismometer. Now, as an aside, I did some research, and the deepest hole we have ever dug on Earth, the Aquila super deep borehole in Russia, which is over 12 kilometers deep. The Russians were originally searching for water, so I think we can reach it. All right, next up, Chaz, KF5JHA with What's Up?
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, everyone. Once again, this is Chaz, KF5JHA. We call this segment of Skynet What Is Up because it's all about what's going on astronomically over the next couple of weeks and beyond. Oh, yeah, and Bob the Cat's around somewhere. Slide Master, slide number 3. About 3 weeks ago, I received a telescope camera called ZWO C-Star S50. The 50 stands for the diameter of the objective in millimeters. It's about the same size a lens is in a standard size pair of binoculars. It was cloudy that day, so I was unable to use it. But over the last couple of weeks, I've had much less than normal sleep due to the imaging of the nighttime and daytime skies. Slide Master, slide number 4, please. On Thursday, August the 15th, I was able to take this picture of the sun using a provided solar filter that a ZWO C-Star came with, and a large sunspot complex near the center of the sun is so large that you can see it with just using your solar eclipse glasses. And on the edge or near the limb of the sun, there's another large sunspot that was in the center of the sun just a week ago. The sun is near its 11th year's solar maximum. I'm not sure when it will happen. We don't know when the maximum happens until after it's passed. Now, we've talked about the solar cycle and past Skynet. Now, later yesterday evening, I was able to capture an image of the crescent moon. Oh, look at that. I'm looking at Echolink. There's a picture of Bob the Cat and Chaz. Okay. Slide Master, slide number 5. Over the last few days, I took this picture of M13, the Hercules star cluster. That's in the evening sky. And also M42, the Orion Nebula. That's in the early morning sky. You have to get up about 4:30 in the morning to see it. Now, the level of details of these pictures with the ZWO C-Star S50 is remarkable, considering these were taken inside Mesquite at the intersection of 2 freeways with a super bright LED light parking lot just a few feet away. Well, I'll be using more of these pictures in the future on the video version of Skynet anyway. Slide Master, slide number 6. On August the moon was at its first quarter phase, so the current phase of the moon is a waxing gibbous. Just saw it a few minutes ago. On August the 19th, oh yeah, it's just a couple days, the moon is full. On August the 21st, the moon is at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 360,196 kilometers. On August the 26th, the moon will be at third quarter phase. On September the 2nd, the moon will be new. On September the 5th, the moon is at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 406,211 kilometers. Slide Master, slide number 7. Now, on August the 20th, there's a conjunction of the moon and the planet Saturn in the eastern evening sky. They'll both be rising just a little bit after sunset because the moon is just full moon the day before. Slide master, slide number 8. On August the 26th, there's a conjunction of the moon and the star cluster M45, also known as the Pleiades, in the eastern morning sky. Slide master, slide number 9. On the very next morning, on August the 29th. Now, what's really interesting is over the last week, I've been watching Jupiter and Mars as they dance close together. They were very close together, less than half a degree apart just a few nights ago. Slide master, slide number 10. Now, again, on the next morning of August the 28th, the moon and Mars are in conjunction. Like I said, Mars and Jupiter were close together in the last week or so. This is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 11. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have a question or need a fill on any of the information? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. Come now with your call sign if you need a fill or have a question. Kelly, K5KTX, is over on Echolink. She said the Jupiter-Mars conjunction was awesome. Yes, it was, but you have to get up early in the morning and see it, and I've been doing that a lot here recently. Okay, so slide number 12. So as the moon waned about 3 weeks ago, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for a world that's the only one where humans live right now. And until next time, actually, I'll be doing another segment on Skynet in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is KF5JHA. Backdoor net control, that would be Brenda, WB5OZL.
Thank you, Chaz. Next up, space exploration news. NASA citizen scientists spot an object moving 1,000,000 miles per hour. Citizen scientists working on NASA's backyard world, Planet 9, have helped discover an object moving so fast it will escape the Milky Way's gravity and shoot into intergalactic space. This hypervelocity object is the first such object found with the mass similar to or less than that of a star. Backwards Yard World uses images from NASA's WISE, or Field Infrared Explorer, maps the sky in infrared light from 2009 to 2011. It was reactivated as NEO-WISE, Near Earth Object Wide Field Infrared Survey, in 2013 and retired on August 8, 2024. CWISE J1249 is zooming out of the Milky Way at about 1,000,000 miles per hour, but it also stands out for its low mass, which makes it difficult to classify as a celestial object. It could be a low-mass star, or if it doesn't steadily fuse hydrogen in its core, it would be considered a brown dwarf, sitting at somewhere between a gas giant planet and a star. Ordinary brown dwarfs are not that rare. Backward World Planet 9 discovered more than 4,000 of them, but none of the others are known to be on their way out of the galaxy. This new object has yet another unique property. Data obtained from the W.M. Keck Observatory in Mauna Kea, Hawaii, show that it has much less iron and other metals than other stars and brown dwarfs. This unusual composition suggests that CWISE J1249 is quite old, likely from one of the first generations in our galaxy. Express 89. NASA will provide live launch and docking coverage of a Roscosmos cargo spacecraft delivering nearly 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies to Expedition 71 station. The unpiloted Progress 89 spacecraft is scheduled to launch at 11:20 p.m. EDT Tuesday, August 14th. Oh, that's already come and gone. On a Soyuz rocket from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The craft will remain docked at the station for approximately 6 months before departing for a re-entry into Earth's atmosphere to dispose of trash loaded by the crew. That's what those stranded astronauts are doing the ISS as they wait for a ride home. Starliners 2 NASA astronauts have been busy in space since arriving 2 months ago. Starliner mission. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams are expected to spend 10 days. They were expected to spend 10 days in space after their June 5th launch. It's now been 71 days, and they will not come home until mid-August at the earliest. That's because their spacecraft, Boeing Starliner, underwent numerous technical issues and perhaps most critically, problems with its thrusters and propulsion system while docking with the International Space Station on June 6. NASA's Program Control Board disagrees on whether the root causes of the propulsion misfires have been found despite months of analysis. It also remains unclear if the agency will authorize Starliner to return to Earth without astronauts on board at all. Rather, the astronauts may return home on SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule, depending on NASA's findings about Starliner. Williams and Wilmore are not permanently stuck in space, but how they will get home is uncertain. NASA may task SpaceX with adding 2 extra seats to the cargo area of SpaceX's Crew 8 Dragon, currently docked at the ISS, to use that spacecraft as the deal is vehicle. Another option lies with launching a half-empty SpaceX Crew 9 in September with only 2 astronauts on board, leaving it empty for Williams sometime during February 2025. Alternatively, the Starliner astronauts may come home Starliner after all. NASA expects to make a decision around next week or so on which path to pursue the August 15th briefing. Officials have also said repeat sending Boeing and SpaceX allows for many options which missions don't exactly go to plan. Up space-related birthdays, and these are all astronauts. Rick W. Sturkow, August 11th, 1961. I've never seen anybody with so many flights. TS 88, 105, 117, 28, VP of Galactic 02, 4 and 06. O.C. Brady Jr., August 12, 1951, STS 78. Robert L. Stewart, August 13, 1942, STS 41B and STS 51. Tracy Caldwell Dyson, August 14, STS 118. John McBride, August 14, 1940. C. Lee, August 14, 1950. STS 30, 47, 64, and 82. Scott Altman, August 15, 1947. STS 90, 106, 109, 105. Sunny Carter, August 15th, 1991, SCS-33. Lizoff, August 16th, SCS-58, 68, 81, and 92. Stuart Russa, August 16th, 1933, Apollo 14. Thomas J. Hennon, August 17th, 1950. Catherine C. Thornton, August 17th, 1952, SCS-33, 49, 61, and 73. Wow. It's a lot of birthdays. I don't know why there's so many. This week in space history, on August 13th, 1969, a couple of weeks after Apollo 11 landed back on Earth, astronauts Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and Michael Collins wrote in a ticker tape parade in their honor in New York City. August 13, 1972, 46 launched to provide data on the frequency and penetration energy of meteoroids and micrometeoroids. Solar cells. Meteoroid impacts were detected and measured using bumper extended after launch and gave the satellite a windmill-like appearance. The satellite carried the velocity and impact experiments. Bumper targets were extended from the satellite and had an overall width of 23 feet. August 12, 1977, AGAO-1. It was renamed AGAO-A, later renamed AGAO-. This photograph shows the high-energy astronomy observation O-1 being assembled at TRW Systems at Redondo Beach. TAO was designed and developed by TR Management of the Marshall Center. The first laboratory, designated on August 12, 1970, Centaur launch vehicle was designed to survey the sky for additional X-ray and gamma ray sources, as well as the satellite was decommissioned in 1979. Next up, Ms. Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. On Chaz, KFI-JHA. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening once again, everyone. Slide Master, slide number 13, please. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key, Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 till May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are 82 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year, out of the 88 total number of constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. And in her honor, we've continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is Aquila the Eagle. The constellation's name, Aquila, means the eagle in Latin. The constellation represents the eagle of the Roman god Jupiter in mythology. The constellation was first cataloged by Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century. In Greek mythology, Aquila is identified as the eagle that carried Zeus's thunderbolts and was once dispatched by the god to carry Ganymede, the young Trojan boy Zeus desired, to Mount Olympus to be the cupbearer of the gods. Ganymede is represented by the neighboring constellation of Aquarius. And Slide Master, slide number 14, the jokes of the week. So, what bird doesn't need a comb? Oh, come on, this is an easy one. you can do this out there. Somebody on Echolink, type it in. If you're on YouTube, you can type it in over there. I'm watching both screens. Actually, I've got 3 screens I'm working on, and plus the radio. Oh, what bird doesn't need a comb is the bald eagle. That was my Indian guide's name. What does the eagle say to his friends before they go hunting for food? He says, "Let us pray," P-R-E-Y. How does an eagle greet its prey? "Pleased to eat you." What is an eagle's favorite game? Peekaboo. What do you call a sick eagle? Oh, this is easy. An ill eagle. And why is the eagle considered the most skillful bird? Because it's the most talented. If you don't get that one, you can come find me and I'll explain it to you. Slide Master, slide number 15, please. The brightest star in Aquila is Altair, Alpha Aquilae. It's the brightest star. It's the 12th brightest star in the entire sky. Altair is one of the 3 stars that make up the asterism, the summer triangle, and is the 2nd brightest member of the 3. The name Altair is derived from the Arabic word that means the flying eagle. Altair is an A-type white star located only 17 light years from the Earth. Altair is one of the few stars that has been directly imaged. A copy of the image can be found in page 7, of volume 2 of the Annals of the Deep Sky by Jeff Knipe and Dennis Webb. It can also be found in Wikipedia entry for Altair. Altair is noted for its extremely fast rotation. It rotates on its axis about every 6.5 hours, which translates into a rotational speed of about 160 miles per second at the equator. The rapid rotation rate makes the star oblate or yeah, okay. Its equatorial diameter is 4.04 solar radii. It is 22% greater than its polar diameter, which is 3.32 solar diameters. Terazad, the 2nd brightest star in Aquila, its name is derived from the Persian, which means the beam of the scale. It is a spectral class K32 star, bright giant with an apparent magnitude of 2.72 and is approximately 461 light years in distance. Terazad is 2,960 times more luminous than our sun and has a radius of 110 solar radii, taking up about half of an astronomical unit. You know what an AU is, right? That's a New York greeting. AU? Oh, no, it's abbreviation for astronomical unit. It's also a known source of X-rays. It's only about 100 million years old, and yet it's already burning helium into carbon in its core. Wow. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide Masters, slide number 16. New General Catalog, NGC 6760 is a globular cluster. David Hutchinson writes that this globular is pretty easy to locate and observe. He found numerous reports of people locating this cluster using binoculars. In his 13-inch Newtonian, he describes NGC 6760. It's a very nice cluster that is very symmetrical with a pretty dense core. He adds that he didn't think he resolved it completely. And I actually imaged it last night, I believe. And it's a smaller globular cluster. Slide Master, slide number 17. NGC 6781 is a planetary nebula known as the Snow Globe Nebula. Dave Hutchinson writes, NGC 6781 is sort of a cross between the M57 Ring Nebula and M97, the Owl Nebula. Like the Ring Nebula, this object is well-defined ring, but unlike the Ring Nebula, or more like the Owl Nebula, this object's interior is well illuminated. He mentions that it is a nice object for an 8-inch telescope and above, and challenges those with larger telescopes to try to observe the nebula's central star, which is shines with a magnitude of 16. That's kind of faint. Slide master, slide number 18. NGC 6751 is a planetary nebula known as the Dandelion Puffball or the Glowing Eye Nebula. Dave Hutchinson notes that NGC 6751 was difficult to see in his 13-inch telescope because it is very faint and small, and it's almost lost on the crowded Milky Way starfield. And slide master, slide number 19, NGC 6778 is a planetary nebula sometimes known as the son of M76. 76 another nebula. Dave Hutchinson writes that NGC 6778 was even more difficult to find than NGC 6751 with his 13-inch telescope. He just suggests that using medium power to find it, and where you will notice it easily as an irregular yet round fuzzy star. And this is KF5, JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 20. Now, there are a few more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellation of Aquila the Eagle. I've just given you a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has, at last count, 74 different observing programs, most of which have around 100 objects. Now, if you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pin in about a year from the Astronomical League. In slide number 21, that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Aquila the Eagle. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for their research words on deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and steal for every Skynet. I also at times use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Now next week we'll take a look at two different constellations, Vulpecula, the little fox, and Sagitta, the arrow. And this is KF5, JJ, saying goodnight in 73. Back to our net control, that would be Brenda, WB5OZL.
Jazz. Next up is space launches for this week. This is brought to us by Tom, KE5ICX. And before you do that, would you mind checking for, see if anybody else wants to check in? Thank you.
All right, Brenda, I'll do exactly that. Do we have any additional check-ins? Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from.
This is November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Hawaii, Visit 2. Oscar 4, Whiskey, Charlie, X-Ray. Kilo Oscar 4, Whiskey, Charlie, X-Ray. Paul in North.
Golf 5, Bravo Zulu, Whiskey, J, near Weatherford.
All right, we picked up three more. We've got N5OF, that's Clay and Mesquite, and we got KO4, WCX, Paul in North Carolina. Welcome, Paul. And KG5BZWJ, near Weatherford, not in Weatherford, but near it. Okay, what I have here is space launches for the week. We have coming up August 26th is a Polaris Dawn mission from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy. This will be the Crew Dragon spacecraft. The Polaris Dawn mission will be commanded by billionaire Jared Isaacman, making his second trip into space. He would be joined by an all-private mission with pilot Scott Kidd Poteet, SpaceX employees Sarah Grillis, and Anna Menon. The Crew Dragon will return to a splashdown at sea. Then we have coming up third quarter, not a lot of new information about the actual date. The Bluebird Block 1 launch from SLC-40 at Cape Canaveral in Florida. This Falcon 9 rocket will launch the 5 700 square foot Block 1 Bluebird satellites on behalf of its customers, AST Space Mobile. That's all I got. Next up after that, September 11th, will be the Soyuz MS-26 mission from Baikonur Cosmodrome, Site 31. The Soyuz 2.1 rocket will launch a 3-man crew to the International Space Station. That'll be with Alexei Ochikin, who will be joined by fellow cosmonaut Ivan Wagner and NASA astronaut Don Pettit. Don Pettit, that's our guy. The Soyuz is set to dock with the ISS at around 3:33 Eastern Daylight Time. The spacecraft will remain docked with the orbiting outpost until April 1st, 2025. By the way, Don Pettit has been on this net. So how about that, huh? And also we have to be determined a certification flight of the Vulcan rocket. Boy, that thing's been a problem. SLC-41 from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Second flight of the United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket will carry ballast and a collection of small payloads. ULA changed this mission. It became clear that the original payload, Sierra Space Dream Chaser cargo ship, would not be ready for launch. We have a Falcon 24, September 24th Falcon 9 Crew 9 launch. This will be a Dragon spacecraft carrying a new crew of 4 or 2 to the International Space Station. The Falcon 9's first stage booster will return to Landing Zone 1 at Cape Canaveral. It'll have on board astronauts Commander Zena Cardman, pilot Nick Hague, and mission specialist Stephanie Wilson, and Roscosmos cosmonaut mission specialist Alexei Gorbanov. Will embark aboard the Crew Dragon Freedom spacecraft on a 6-month expedition to the station. I think I'm going to leave it there at this point. Let's see, it's 11:17. Why don't I do this? Brenda, if you don't mind, with your permission, I'm just going to go ahead and go on to visible satellite passages over the next couple of weeks. That way, because since I'm next on the list, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And then I'll turn it back to you. Visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. This is from heavensabove.com, and you can go ahead and go to that website, plug in your longitude and latitude or your nearest city, and it will produce these numbers. We have the International Space Station. We limited just to 2 different things here, the 2 space stations. The ISS on August 18th has a minus 1.7 magnitude flyover. That one is, let's see here, at 5:15 a.m. It'll reach its highest point at 20 degrees at 5:16 a.m. It'll fall to the east-northeast at 5:19 a.m. On the 20th, we have a nice pass, or I'm sorry, that August 19th, minus 3.5 magnitude. This one is at 6:01 a.m. out of the west-southwest, reaches its highest point at 53 degrees in the northwest, and it will fall to the northeast at 6:07. August 20th has a nice pass as well, minus 3.8 magnitude at 5:15 a.m. out of the south-southeast, reaches its highest point at 74 degrees in the southeast. At 5:15, it will fall to the northeast at 5:18. Then finally, August 22nd, minus 2.5 magnitude, 5:14 a.m., reaches highest point at 31 degrees at 5:14:32. So it's coming out of shadow at that point, north-northwest, and it'll fall to the north-northeast at 5:17. Okay, Tiangong, I think I checked this and there were no good passes. I thought for sure there were some here, but I guess there aren't. So let me send this, let me go ahead and take additional check-ins, and then I'll send it back to Brenda. Additional check-ins, if you'd like to join us this evening, please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from.
KG5ZIX. Kilo Golf 50 India X-ray. Joe from Wiley.
All right, excellent. We got one more. That's KG5ZIX. That's Joe over in Wiley. We've got you checked in, Joe. Brenda, we are up to 29 check-ins, so back to you. KE5ICX.
Okay, well, 29 check-ins. That's pretty good. Who checked in this evening? Free Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. NetNet, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control sessions for this and all other DARC nets. If you would like to try your hand at this, connect any of the net controls to 5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussions about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook, as well as our audio and video streams. So archives and other useful internet 5fc.org. The conclusion of this net. Friday night, this is WBL Brenda, full time, and returning the repeater to below KE5.
All right, thank you, Brenda. You're starting to break up again, but I got most of that. This is KE5ICX. We'll start at 10:30, so that's 8 minutes from now, so come on by. This is KE5ICX, and come back then. Tonight's movie is Cosmos from 1997. Not Cosmos, Contact from 1997. Wrong show.
Tom, this is WB50ZL Clear.
Are they outside again?
No, they're both out asleep.
normal state.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
All right, this is KE5ICX. I will be net control tonight. Discuss tonight's movie, the 1997 Contact. I'll give you a little synopsis about the film's origins. I'm going to skip the plot because I think we'll have plenty to talk about on that. But at any rate, let me give you the Wikipedia take on this. It's a 1997 American science fiction dramatic film directed by Robert Zemeckis, based on the 1985 novel of the same name by Carl Sagan. Sagan and his wife, Anne Druin, wrote the story, The Doctor, SETI scientist who finds evidence of extraterrestrial life and is chosen to make first contact. It also stars Matthew McConaughey, James Woods, Tom Skerritt, William Fichtner, John Hurt, Angela Bassett, Rob Lowe, Jake Busey, and David Morris. It features the Very Large Array in New Mexico and the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, the Mir Space Station, and the Space Coast surrounding Cape Canaveral. Sagan and Druin began working on Contact in '79. They wrote the film treatment, over 100 pages long, and set up a project at Warner Brothers. When development stalled, Sagan published Contact as a novel in '85, and the film re-entered development in 1989. Roland Joffe and George Miller had planned to direct, but Joffe dropped out in '93, and Warner Brothers fired Miller in '95. With Zemeckis as director, filming ran from September 1996 to February of '97. Sony Pictures Imageworks handled most of the visual effects. Contact was released on July 11, 1997, received positive reviews from critics. The film grossed over $171 million worldwide. It won the Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation and several Saturn Awards. Okay, some information on the development. It was conceived in 1979 as an idea, and production company Casablanca Filmworks was involved. Now they're defunct and gone, but that's interesting. They were at the height of their game back then, with disco music being the big thing that drove all their financial success, but then they also had the Filmworks company as well. Sagan and Druin, who were later married, finished their film treatment in November of 1980. She explains, Carl and my dreams was to write something that would be fictional representation of what Contact would actually be like, and that would convey something of a true grandeur of the universe. They added the science and religion and thought analogies as a metaphor of philosophical and intellectual interest in searching for the truth of both humanity and alien contact. Sagan incorporated Kip Thorne's study of wormhole space travel into the screenplay. Characterization of Ellie Arroway was inspired by Jill Tarter, head of Project Phoenix at the SETI Institute. Jodie Foster researched the lead role by meeting her. The name Ellie was short for Eleanor, which was taken from Eleanor Roosevelt, with whom Sagan and Druin adored. Arroway was selected based on both Voltaire's real name, Aeronet, and Ellie was going to travel like an arrow through the cosmos, according to Druin. Tarter served as consultant on this story, realistically portraying career struggles of women scientists from the 50s through the 70s. The writers debated on whether Arroway should have a baby at the film's end. Although Gruber was impressed by Sagan and Druin's treatment, he hired various screenwriters to rewrite the script. New characters were added, one of them a Native American park ranger turned astronaut. Gruber suggested that Arroway had an estranged teenage son whom he believed would add depth to the storyline. Here was a woman consumed with the idea that there was something out there worth listening to, but one of the things she would never make contact was with her own child. To me, that's what this film was all about. Sagan and Druin disagreed. It was not incorporated into the storyline. In 1982, Gruber took contact to Warner Brothers Pictures, and the film's development stalled. Sagan started to turn his original idea into a novel, which was published in 1989. Gruber became new president of Sony Pictures Entertainment and tried to purchase the film rights as a contact from Warner, but the studio refused. Coincidentally, in 1989, Orst was hired as a new executive at Warner and began to fast-track the film by hiring more writers. Let's see here. The first script for Contact I saw was great until the last page and a half, and then it had a story open up, and these angelic aliens putting on a light show, and I said, that's just not going to work. I think it had already been done. Let's see here. During the development of Contact, the production crew watched Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey for inspiration. I didn't realize this went on for quite a while, so I'm going to stop there. I think you get the idea. Everybody knows about, at least on this net, know who Carl Sagan is and what that means, and even some of the people that were involved in this. So hopefully folks that are listening here had a chance to at least see Contact, either recently or in the past. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the rules of the road, although I think everybody knows. I'm going to go ahead and take check-ins of everyone and then go down the list, probably in the order that you check in, and ask you about the plot. What did you think of it? Did it play out? Did it make sense? What were interesting parts of it, and maybe things not so interesting that you would like to discuss? The second round, we will go ahead and take additional check-ins, and then we will talk about characterization and the acting. And then the third round will be everything else, special effects, music, something you missed on the first two rounds you want to talk about, and then we'll close it out around midnight. So here we go. I will take check-ins. Please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see this week's assigned movie, Contact, from 1997? This is KE5 ICX.
This is Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra. Gus, far northeast Dallas, with a quick announcement when you get a chance. That'll probably be short time also. W5GUS.
Kilo Juliet 5, Golf November Foxtrot. This is Brian, and I watched the movie this afternoon. KT5GNS.
November Victor 5, Foxtrot, Virginia in Fort Worth. I've seen this a bunch of times.
Where's everybody? I figured they'd be really into this film.
Golf 5, Bravo Zulu Whiskey, J. Near Weber, recently saw it, and I've seen it a number of times.
All right, let me go ahead and get those folks checked in. Kind of slow start this evening, but we've got W5GUS Gus. He's short time. I'll come right back to you, Gus. KJ5GNF Brian. Yes, he saw the film. NV5F Virginia in Fort Worth. Yes, she saw the film. KG5BZWJ near Rutherford. He saw the film. I'm going to pause now because Gus had something he wanted to say, and he's short time, and then I'll take additional check-ins after that. So, Gus, W5GUS, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Movie music and the local FM radio station WRR-FM in Dallas. Monday evening is going to have a 1-hour show on movie music. Monday, 8 p.m. I'm 99% sure. It might be 7, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 p.m. Monday. The Dallas Winds will be, this is a rebroadcast of a Dallas Winds concert. It includes a lot of nice movie music, Magnificent Seven, Spartacus Ballet, the James Bond medley, Casablanca Suites by Max Steiner, and of course, the Imperial March by John Williams. That's all will be this coming Monday night at 8 p.m. WRR FM 101.1 FM Monday evening. So really some good music. Movie music. Thanks, Tom. W5GUS.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you, Gus. Yeah, I enjoy those concerts and when they pop up. There are some soundtrack programs that are available online and streamed from my old hometown in Detroit. There's one on 6 o'clock our time from WCKY, I think is the station. That's located in Detroit with Jack Goggin, one of my favorite people from years ago. I actually used to talk to him at night, late night, because he was a late night guy doing the stuff, but he does film music, so we talked about it quite a bit. He's still alive and kicking. It's at 6 o'clock on their stream for here. Okay, let me go ahead and take additional check-ins. Hopefully there's a few more people out there. It's kind of light this evening. I'm surprised. I figured this would be a big one, but the night is still relatively young. If you'd like to join us this evening, tonight's movie is Contact from 1997. So please come with your call, your name, and did you see the film? Wow, I'm surprised. Hey Jimmy, I see you trying to transmit here. It's got that Fox key, so your audio is way down. If you can, boost your navigate, boost your audio a little bit, we'd be able to hear you. But I'm going to go ahead and check you in, KD5LQD. So you want to give it another shot? Maybe pop up your microphone a little bit more, and we'll see if we can hear you.
LQD with a brief shot.
There you go. We heard you that time. That's more like what I'm used to hearing you on Echolink. Are you going to check in and join us, or just making your presence known?
Oh, yes, indeed. KD5LQD. I saw the film, and my first attempt at checking in was too quiet, you said, so I gave it another shot. I have seen the film, but it's been years and years.
Okay, well, I put you on the list. You're here, so you're at the kind of bottom of the list, but I got you. Anyone else want to check in? I can't milk this too much longer.
Whiskey 5, bacon, lettuce, tomato, W5BLT. Bill, Garland, yes, I saw the movie twice.
What's happened to Brenda? She's disappeared.
Alpha India 5, Quebec Echo on Echo Link. I'm not going to comment because it's too awkward, but I'm enjoying it. Thanks very much.
Oscar Zulu. Brenda, on Echo Link. I guess it's okay to check in now, even though you didn't call for Echo Link, but I'm here and I did see this.
All right, excellent. Now we've got the quorum going. Okay, I've got, let's see, K85LQD, that's Jimmy. He's going to participate. Yep, he saw the film. W5BLT, that's Bill. And Garland, yes, he saw the movie. And then Robert, AI5QE, he's just going to listen tonight, but he was showing his support this evening. Thanks, Robert. And WB5OZL, Brenda, has seen the film. So we've got a pretty good group of people. Let me go ahead and go to the top. Now, Gus said he was short time and he wanted to make that announcement. Thank you, Gus. If you're still there, did you want to comment on the film? I'll let you say yay or nay if you're still there. W5GUS.
Thank you, Tom. W5GUS. Yes, I'd like to comment on it. It's yeah, I liked it. It's a wonderful show. I did see it several times. Probably the last time was maybe a year or two ago, but it's always fun. And exhilarating to imagine that first contact. I'm wondering why they don't make a remake of this one. They've remade so many other movies. This would probably be a good one with some other special effects. Who knows? But yeah, I think it was a wonderful movie. The plot was definitely, you could tell it was massaged quite a bit and worked on, and it had an excellent plot, a good plot line. I just wish it was a little different result at the end. So, I mean, I wish there was realization that there was something else out there. Okay, back to you, Tom. W5GUS.
All right, thank you, Gus. And yeah, I think that's going to be the general consensus is it was a pretty good film. But let's find out, shall we? All right, next up is Brian, KJ5GNF. Brian, you get to tell Carl Sagan jumping into fiction, and did it work out for you as far as the movie was concerned from KE5ICX? Brian, KJ5GNF, are you still there?
KJ5GNF. Sorry, I didn't hear you call my my call sign. The first part was cut off. But yeah, I saw the movie. Really enjoyed it. It took me back to the 90s. At that, I guess it was released in '97. At that particular point in time, I had just graduated was just struck, first of all, by how much our lives have changed. There wasn't a single cell phone anywhere, and people were actually interacting with one another and caring about what they thought. So it just reminded me of a very different time. Good nostalgic vibes. I really enjoyed it. I loved the thoughtfulness with which they handled that balance between faith in God and the idea that if you haven't found God, empirically. Sorry, I had to reset there. I love that balance between belief in God and belief in science and empirical data regarding whether there is a God. I thought that was handled extremely well. I think one of my favorite quotes in there too was kind of I believe I heard "clever girl" in there, which was, I guess the film came out in '97, and that was a throwback, I think, to Jurassic Park, where that quote originated. But yeah, love the film. So much I could say, but I'll hand it off to the next person. KJ5 GNF.
All right, thank you, Brian. And yeah, good point. Yeah, it's sort of this film is now old enough now that it's kind of just out of it's different world now and a different culture. So it is kind of interesting. And all these people who are middle-aged or older are so young in this thing. Of course, we all were much younger then. Okay, thanks, Brian. We'll be back to you on the next round. NV5F Virginia. What did you think about the film? I know you've seen it a few million times, as some of us have. I haven't seen this one as much as I thought I had, but I really enjoyed it. I'll probably do more repeat viewings. But tell us, what did you think? What keeps bringing you back to this film from KE5ICX?
Okay, thank you, Tom. We have a lot of people, so I'll try to keep it brief. But first off, no remakes, please. I'm so tired of remakes. I love the time frame of this. I was actually studying for my ham radio license the summer that I saw this, and it actually inspired me quite a bit. I liked the tightness of the plot. You can tell by the history that you read that there was a lot of time and thought put into this plot. The juxtaposition of science and faith, and kind of the whole idea of what it is to really believe something. I liked that a lot. Dr. Arroway gets kind of put in her place at the end a little bit because she does have to believe what happened to her, and kind of helps her to relate to the 90, whatever they say in the movie, the 90-some% of people who she thinks are all wrong. And I liked the way that worked out at the end. I love the stuff about, of course I love the ham radio stuff. I thought the stuff about the aliens was handled pretty well. I kind of, even by this point, the whole idea of, aliens scan your brain and make this environment that you kind of recognize, that was very 2001. And it was already something that we were pretty familiar with by then. So even when I first saw this, I loved the movie, but that was the one thing I was like, yeah, y'all could have maybe gone a little different direction with that, and not made it so like everything else we've already seen. But, and I guess it's because I was also just so sad that she had lost her dad that I kind of wanted that to really be her dad, that she ran into on the fantastic beach in Pensacola. out of her imagination. But I like all those things. I like how they connected everything together, and even like, you know, superimposed her kind of her younger self and that wonder, you know, that she experienced when she went through the wormhole. I'll do my 2001 plug because I always have to do that. The irony of this is that when Kubrick was figuring out, when he was consulting with people, he was still in New York, hanging out with Arthur C. Clarke, and they were trying to figure out how to handle a whole meeting aliens plot, and so Arthur C. Clarke got Carl Sagan involved, and they had a meeting one night, and Carl Sagan said, well, the best way to handle it is to not show the aliens, and Stanley Kubrick, after the meeting, told Arthur C. Clarke, get rid of that guy, he's a crackpot. Kubrick was determined they were going to figure out how to show aliens in 2001, have it not be cheesy or, you know, tried in any way, and he finally, even though he didn't like Carl Sagan at all, he finally came to the same conclusion. Better if you just don't show the aliens. So I thought that was pretty dang funny. But yeah, I love the kind of long. I like movies. The Mechas can do like a long form sort of movie that takes place over many, many years and have it really work. And I liked the kind of worldwide scope of this. You go all over the place from the Midwest to Arecibo. You get VLA in there. Arecibo was supposed to be the original opening scene location of 2010, and that's what it was in the Times. Went and visited Arecibo, and it was not up to his standard of general presentableness at that point. That's kind of interesting connection too. So, but yeah, I liked the plot. I liked the. You even have the antagonist in there, and he was such a bad guy. And I don't want to get too much into characters. The multi-billionaire. I'm trying to think who he would have represented at the time in the mid-90s. Maybe a cross between Bill Gates and what's his face, Rupert Murdoch or something. I don't know. But I also liked the thing where in the beginning, Palmer Joss was doing the interview about faith and our times, and he was going on and on about this big crazy internet thing that gave us a false sense of togetherness that was actually pushing us all apart. And every time I watch that now, I'm like, oh gosh, if you had any idea. It is amazing to see the difference between then and now, and that was just when we first started having, you know, let's go online and like surf the web and shop and email each other, and so yeah, good plot. I liked the ending. I liked how it all came back together at the end. The antagonists served a good role in the story. The technology was a little out there, but it was from aliens. I liked the little puzzle they had to solve. I liked the radio aspect of it. I liked the nerdiness of it. The reminiscence of other science fiction movies. There was some 2001 about it. I liked that. I liked that more than I did when I was younger. I liked the whole, we scanned her brain and put her in a place that might seem kind of familiar. But I think these aliens, that's the part that bugs me about that. And in 2001, they're supposed to be so super smart and almost omniscient, and they can scan your brain, but somehow they can't actually make an environment that is something that you would believe 100%. And I'm like, even in 2001, that bugged me. It's like, yeah, so they put Dave in this weird room, and they thought that would be comfortable to him. I don't know. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox and give it to the next person. Thank you, Tom, in V5F.
All right, thank you, Virginia. Great comments, you should think. But I'm not sure if I can follow up with that, but we'll see. Okay, Jay, KG5BZW. Jay, your thoughts on the plot for Contact from 1997?
Hey, sir, this is Katie. Kilo Golf 5 Bravo to Whiskey. And, I'm waiting for I'm listening to YouTube at the same time, so I was just, waiting for confirmation who's there, except for that's probably going to be 20 seconds later. Anyway, this is a great film. And some of the things I kind of hate about it is also the things I love, because it's like I have to remind myself, this is a movie. This is not a detailed analysis or discussion about so many things that can only be hinted at. Really, you only have time to hint at, and it just covers so many things, including I think the fact that I love the fact that she has had this experience, and no, it's definitely a real experience. We know from the narrative it's a real experience, and but it's beyond beyond what she's able to explain. And yes, I kind of think that they kind of conveniently forget to explain. Oh, we only record stats, only 18 hours of stats. Yeah, that's kind of stupid. But it's not stupid that that is what happened. It's stupid that that's missing, in my opinion. I can't think of what reason why that would be explicitly omitted, unless for some reason. Yeah, I know the reason that they're trying to keep some information to themselves and top secret stuff. And we're like, no, we can't. We actually know there was some sort of weird success there, but we can't admit that to the public. Yeah, I see the logic there. It's still, it's one of those things I can't. I have a feeling that you can't hide that. Now, also, we have this massive amount of data that we need to process, and but we need to keep that away from the public, even though it's supposedly static. Anyway, I mean, it does touch on a lot of stuff, and I do mean the word touch. The faith aspect versus that. I kind of hate that a little bit when you're talking about, oh, do you believe in God or whatever? What exactly do you mean? That's maybe the biggest thing it's like you have to ask what a question actually means to actually be able to answer. And we always have in American life, and however I've grown up, this kind of nebulous idea of God that everybody is comfortable with saying, yeah, I agree with that. But, what exactly that means, that's when, everybody gets, brings up their torches and swords and whatnot. But anyway, and they didn't quite touch on that, in my opinion. They just stuck with the nebulous aspect of, oh, yes, the God, yes, we will believe. And the question regarding that, and not even actually delving into the matter from which all matter of kinds of crap can happen. But anyway, that's one of stuff that they could have been braver on, and they weren't. And it's like, I don't know. I could go off on a real long tangent on that, and that's not what the purpose of this is. But yeah, you do have. I really appreciate when things are defined here, and we can verifiably say, like, God does not wear a clown hat, and stuff like that. It's like, can you prove that? And whatever. Anyway, yeah, I've already just went away far on tangent. I just, the pace was good. I love all the little nerdy aspects, as I have said. This is, I've got rented for 3 days. I might watch it again in those next 3 days, just because it does touch a lot of things I don't think about it. The one other thing I want to talk about, I tend to be rather cynic as to how stupid certain aspects of, but I mean, there just seems to be certain craziness out there, crazy conspiracy, whatever out there. And I love the fact that this film is just a reminder, hey, that's always been out there. There's always been crazies out there that believe all of these kind of very wild stuff. And, even the hint that it turns out it was I hate to call him a conspiracy theorist because I don't think he was the coldest. He was the coldest that actually was probably one of the biggest, potential, antagonists of, I should call it potential, one of the biggest antagonists, just because, he was the cause of failure. He literally forced it to fail, and it was for a silly reason. And I'm only using silly as a euphemism for what I really want to say, because it was, it's sad. But that's also one thing that I kind of expect in this life, that people of those would do that. Anyway, I ain't talking for a while, and I don't know how long I can talk, but I think I've covered the main things I wanted, and I know there's others here, so I really probably should shut up. I'll leave it at that. KG5, BCW.
All right, thank you, Jay. I took some notes on what you said. I've got some comments to make later on. Okay, next up is Jimmy, KD5LQD. Jimmy, welcome to the Afterglow Movie Net. What did you think about the plot? You've seen the film. What does it resonate with you from KE5ICX?
K5LQD. There was a couple of things that they pushed in the movie. You have to look for them to a certain extent, but there were both commentaries on upper management. One of them was in the first part of the movie where the discovery had been made and everybody was looking forward to getting credit for it. There was always someone in upper management, some executive has to step forward and take all the credit for everything that's going on, and he did. And that was a very good thing to throw into the movie, I think, because that happens far too often. And then another point where they were bashing upper management was the same problem that we had with the Challenger. It blew up because upper management has such a strict policy of input from the chief seats will not be tolerated, and they just had to make sure that they designed a seat that the doctor could sit in inside the globe structure so that she could be anchored as she went through any turbulence that turned out to be the wormhole, of course, and darn near shook her to death until she released herself. And it's just another incident of she told them over and over and over and over, let's leave it alone. Let's keep it the way it's supposed to be. And they would not. They had to throw that seat in there. So, stuff like that does need to be brought to the forefront in big publications like the 85 LQD.
Thank you, Jimmy. Good point. So you reminded me of some less than stellar times and similar things that have happened to me. So, and probably everybody. Interesting. Okay, next up is Bill, W5BLT. Bill, welcome back again this week. One of our regulars. What'd you think about the plot for our film from KE5ICX?
Well, I like the plot. I like the amateur radio stuff at the very beginning, and just the relationship that the girl had with her dad, and then growing up wanting to make contact with other life on other planets. But hearing you all discuss the movie helped. I didn't. It was a little hard to follow for me. I think maybe being blind is part of it. There were a couple times in the movie where it was just kind of long and drawn out on some scenes with no verbiage as to what was happening. So that made it hard to follow. I saw this the first time I ever watched a movie on surround sound in 5.1, and it was just awesome. In fact, we had it turned up too loud in the apartment we were at, and the cops actually got called in the scene where she's in the spaceship, it falls through, and anyway, that kind of weird having to knock at your sliding glass door with the cops shining the flashlight in. So my roommate and I, we had to turn it down. So that's probably the best part of the movie that I remember. I don't know that it's one of my favorites, though. But it may be after tonight when I get more of what was happening in the movie. So I had just kind of a tough time in some parts following it, and so as always, I think the books are always better. W5BLT.
All right, thank you, Bill. Yeah, it usually is because the descriptive part of it is always helpful, and you get to find out what your characters are thinking, which is really hard to do in a movie. But sometimes it can be done. Okay, Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, welcome back. You get to tell us without having to type in your thoughts, but we appreciate what you did, even going above and beyond that during your no.
This is WB50ZL, Brenda, and I've seen the movie before, but I loved it even more this time. I was just riveted. I thought it was so well, plot was very well developed. It showed that there was a lot of effort put into this, so we can make a movie. Tears and love and professional work put in. I love the character. So passionate and devoted. And it's an uphill battle, especially against those jerks. And you just feel sorry for her because smack them. They were just that was reality for women scientists. It's gotten better, but I'm not sure it's there yet. At the time, for the women's work, or denigrated them or blah, 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 you know? So, and I was glad she didn't back down and she stuck to her guns and she was, that paid off her perseverance. Didn't read the book, and I don't know why. I'm such a fan of Carl Sagan. I don't know why I never read the book. But, should. I probably have a copy of it around here somewhere. But, it would explain a lot of things. A question. The aliens made it so hard, scary. Why couldn't they have just sent information about who they are and what's going on? It's a little unsatisfied that aliens, we don't know anything about them, and we don't know what happens next. Yes, home, okay, the machine's gone. What do we do next? We just wait for the next signal from them to free. And in many ways, this machine was a failure. She came back and without anything to show for it, and people thought it was kind of a fake. Hold on, let me time. Right? They're going to build, the answer is we're going to give her more money and we're going to build more antennas. Okay, so what are we getting? Another $50 million machine project from the same aliens? Or what's them? The better thing is we can actually communicate in something besides. Her conversation with her dad was so vague. It's like, well, it's what blah blah. You don't know anything about them, and you think there's got to be so much to learn, and you want to know everything. I was kind of unsatisfied. She came back with, well, I was on a beach this with an alien shapeshifter, and you know, people here on Earth don't believe I ever went anywhere. So that to me was a little but on the whole, it was fascinating. Okay, back to them. WB50ZL.
All right, thank you, Brenda. Let's see here. I see one of our regulars out there, David, W5EBB. He's on Echolink. David, you want to join us? We're talking about tonight's movie is Contact from 1997, the Carl Sagan film.
John? Well, I'm actually watching it on DVD for Blu-ray for the about 100th time right now. But I'm just listening to your comments tonight. I know you've got a big group, so I'll just be listening. But thank you for asking. W5EBB.
All right, thank you, David. Well, I always find your comments interesting. There's always an interesting perspective that you bring. So enjoy your comments. As everyone, it's always you always bring a certain depth to it. Okay, anyone else want to join us this evening? Please come with your call, your name, and did you see tonight's movie, Contact from 1997?
Sir Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, I've seen this film.
Kilo 5, Mike Charlie Delta. Yes, I've seen it.
Okay, well, we picked up 2 more. Sean, one of the regulars, is here, KB9SOK. I've got you checked in, and I think you probably saw it. And K5MCD, Cody, welcome back. You also saw the film, so I'll let you go ahead and make your comments, starting with Sean, KB9SOK. What did you think about the plot?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, of course, I enjoyed the film like everybody else. As everybody's already said, it was definitely well thought out. Loved the beginning of it. Obviously we love the radio stuff. We love the struggle of the whole process. As they brought up when they first started listening to the stars, people made fun of that whole program, just like they talked about the film. But in reality, we just say, I still think it's an important thing that we're doing, and I think many people still agree. They definitely covered a lot of areas here of kind of that. Obviously, as we covered, the struggle for female scientists. They covered that very well. And then we got into the whole space films, actually. This is kind of gone over in most ways. I kind of hate to see it in modern films because it's been covered so many times and it's kind of getting old. But this film really probably done it best of comparing the two. So I definitely give it kudos for that. And it was definitely one of the more interesting ones where they compared faith and science compared to a lot of the other films or movies or even episodes of Star Trek where they've just kind of thrown it in. They covered that very well. It's just some of the modern stuff that's just kind of getting older now. But it was definitely done well here. Probably my only real problem with this movie was really the ending. I think like a lot of people. Obviously she fought so hard for everything throughout her whole life to get to that point, then get to go, on this trip. But then in the end, when she gets back, she just kind of, in a lot of ways, just accepts it, what they're telling her. Even though she still believes in what happened to her, I would have thought she would have fought extremely hard to get her hands on all the data, the raw data. As we find out at the end of the movie, obviously the government was covering it up, and there was, that 18 hours of static, which proved she really was gone. But it just surprises me that after how hard she fought, in the end, she didn't really fight to get her hands on that data. And they just kind of glossed over that, because the movie did have a little bit of a slow burn to it. Even though it was pretty steady, but it was still kind of a slow burn. And then like a lot of the movies from really more like the 60s, it seems like we just kind of almost resolved this within just a couple of minutes at the end. So I was kind of disappointed in that she had to fight harder to get that proof. I know obviously she did, that would have changed the ending of the movie. But I'm kind of disappointed with how the whole thing kind of concluded with, we have this, I know they were pushing the faith versus science and her kind of, have to have some faith in what happened to her. And obviously it would change that, but it still just left me unsatisfied at the very end. And like many people, I would have liked for them to take the alien thing a little further and either A, reveal themselves, or B, give us a little more information. But obviously I can see why she would have continued her research afterwards, because after all, the aliens did tell her there was a whole lot of other life out there, and maybe she was hoping she would contact one of them, or else maybe not direct contact, we hear from them. But anyway, still a good film, just bothered me a little bit, but other than that, back to that, KB9, that's okay.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Yeah, I wrote some notes on what you said, too. Let's see. Next is Cody, K5MCD. Cody, what did you think about the plot for Contact from 1997 from KE5ICX?
Thanks, Tom. I'm a little concerned that it's going to be pitchforks and torches with what I'm saying. So I'll try and stick to a high level so I don't end up burning up too much time. There's not much I like about the film. attempt at reconciliation of faith and science for me just doesn't go over. I don't think it worked in this film very well. Zemeckis pulled one too many kind of cliches out, and it was just a little too schmaltzy, even for him. It was just a bit over the top in parts, as far as the plot line went. So I'll close on something that is really great about the film, and that is, I think it was Ralston's work with the effects on the film, specifically the mirror shot. I think that was one of the first times that bullet time had been done, or that kind of slow down effect in the running hallway scene. And the whole reaching for the mirror scene just blew everybody away when this came out. People still talk about that as one of the coolest shots ever done, even today. So I'll just leave it there. K5 MCD.
All right. Well, thank you, Cody. Now, I'll go ahead and give my comments, and I've got a conundrum or a challenge, not a conundrum, but a challenge here. So let me say this about film. I'm not going to rehash what other people had said, but I do want to bring up a point that I thought was interesting about the film, and 2 points that came up. One is the religious and the scientific and the philosophical and the emotional part. There's a potential in our lifetime of actually having some sort of evidence of extraterrestrial life. We have all of these things out there that are telescopes with completely capable of figuring out potential life signatures. Now, maybe not alien life like as depicted in this film, but life of some sort. And I think that it may happen in our lifetime. It's entirely possible. There's certainly been evidence, and there's daily evidence of refined data that's beginning to suggest that maybe it is out there. We'll see. I don't know. It requires, as Carl Sagan himself says, this extraordinary findings require extraordinary evidence, or something paraphrased to that degree. So even he would agree with that process. But that being said, the religious context of that and life outside of Earth, potentially, when we always had sort of a Earth-centered creation, I think makes it quite interesting. How do various religions take that? Will they pull it in and say, okay, I get it? Does this become something other than, mankind's always the chosen one, but maybe he's not. Maybe he came about later on or something like that. I mean, from religious standpoints and the constructs of that could be very interesting. And another thing about it, too, is that the way ancient texts are interpreted and understood sometimes don't jive with what is in the here and now, so you have to kind of get through that as well. What are they trying to say, and then does this play out when something like this occurs in a universe where more than mankind is out there? I mean, those are interesting conceptual questions, and I think that's probably why one of the questions was asked, do you believe in God? Because that helps to put some sort of understanding on it. This is a hard topic to discuss because there's so many unknowns, but it does occur, and I'm not sure how it plays out. I kind of like the idea that they dabbled in this to a certain extent. This could be something that could be discussed at length, or even a whole another movie just to try and grapple with this simple concept that's not simple at all. I think it's really cool. Even I remember seeing something, and I'm only going by memory, something with the Catholic churches has in their case, they have come up with some sort of a first contact scenario that they will tell their congregations on how to handle it, but they're keeping it very close to their vest as to how they will do it if it should occur. But they've got a plan in place, apparently, or at least that's what I recall in the interview. At any rate, I'm not knocking religion or anything. I'm just saying that there is a there is a process if life is found outside of Earth. Probably easier with microbial stuff because of the universe creations and things like that. But if there is intelligence life, that's going to be a really tough one to try and understand and explain. So that was the one part. The second part is everybody is unhappy about the fact that we don't go very far with the aliens. What happens? Well, we've talked about films like Close Encounters and 2001: A Space Odyssey and said, you know what? You don't want to get too descriptive of the aliens, or even Alien, the movie. You want to get too descriptive because then you're let down. They aren't as mystical or magical or interesting or ethereal or mysterious or any of that, because now they become somebody in a rubber suit, or they become more human, or they become more predictable. That sort of thing, when you start explaining yourself, you trip over your own words, and then suddenly the whole process just kind of collapses, and you end up with a disappointing ending to a movie. As I've mentioned before, and this movie definitely does apply, is that if you leave it to the viewers or the moviegoer's imagination to allow them to fill in the blanks, then you have a more satisfying movie. When you try and explain and do everything, that can get really, really clumsy at best, and you don't want to do that. All right, now here's the thing. We went through round one. It took us an hour. So I'm not sure how we're going to handle round 2 and 3. Obviously, we're not going to get through them all. We may not even get all the way through round 2. So I will go down the list and we'll see how this goes. Definitely round 3 is going to be a toss-up if we get that far. So I'll tell you what, let's do this. We've got half an hour. Let's combine both plot and, let's combine characterization, special effects, and music. And this may be our final round because I have a feeling it's going to end that way. If we do end up with more time, we can go ahead and take whatever you want to talk about, and whoever raises their hands will get recognized. So on this one, we'll go ahead and just combine the characterization and special effects in the film, and we'll just go down the list that way. I think we might be able to accomplish it. So I got to shut up and allow that to happen. So Gus, W5GUS, if you're there, and I think you are, go ahead. Your thoughts, characterization, and everything else about the film. All right, Gus said he was short time, but he stuck around for quite a while, so I'm going to mark him as out. So next up is Brian, KJ5GNF. Brian, go ahead. Anything you want to talk about the film, characterization, special effects, music, go for it, from KE5ICX.
Well, I have to say, one of the first things that struck me about the film were the pickup lines between Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. They were kind of cheesy. I can't remember what the first one was exactly, but it was just like, really? That worked? And then, of course, many years later, when she saw him in the meeting with the president, he also had kind of a pickup line at that point. So anyway, I found that extremely amusing. As far as the special effects were concerned, there were some good ones in there, but I could tell that green screen. Yeah, not many people have seen that yet. But there were some really good ones as well. I was really taken by the scene where she was on the planet and she started to kind of reach and feel around her, and it started to shimmer, and it almost struck me that it was spherical in nature, that she was encountering some sort of a boundary, as though, is this a holodeck? Was she within the sphere the whole time, and maybe did the sphere travel to a different dimension? So maybe maybe it didn't go far, but it just went into a different dimension as well, perhaps where time passes at a different rate. So that was a possibility I was kind of toying around with. As far as plausible and implausible special effects, I too was, I smiled at she had those mag locks in her chair, making sure that she wouldn't go anywhere, they looked extremely heavy duty. And then they put this very awkward headset on that looked like it was a Sony Walkman headband with a very heavy, almost looked like a camcorder off on the side. I'm like, okay, so she's not going to come out of that chair, but that headset's going to fly off and hit somebody. And it kind of struck me a little bit like an MRI machine, especially when the chair got stuck to the side there. And one last comment, and I'm going to go ahead and recheck here, or reset. I really liked, just reiterating that juxtaposition, between science and faith. I loved how she stuck to her guns as a scientist, in wanting that empirical evidence. But I think I contrast that with that line, if we're the only ones here, that's an awful lot of wasted space. Now, as a scientist, to be able to rule out something like, oh, there is a God or there isn't, there's an awful lot of data here in the universe that we haven't sampled yet. We've just seen our corner of it, which is just a very small piece. So I think it's difficult for someone who's truly a scientist to say absolutely that something is or isn't possible, based on our current sample size. But anyway, I loved that quote, and just wanted to tie that back to, that science versus faith. KJ5 GNF.
All right, thank you, Brian. Really good points. Next, Virginia, NV5F. Virginia, go for it. You know the game.
Okay, thank you. I've heard a lot of great stuff this evening. I do like the characters. We got some good antagonists, not just one, but a couple, three. We have the terrorist guy. We've got the, science council guy turned, desk jockey turned, now I want all the credit. And then we've got the government guy. I like that there is antagonism in this. It does give it a sense of plot, character, drives plot, makes a good story. The play between Jodie Foster and Maxine is what I wanted to get to, and I wanted to kind of reiterate what Jimmy was saying earlier. That's one of my favorite moments in the movie, is because at the very beginning when they first meet, he gives her that Cracker Jack prize compass, and he says it might save your life one day. And then during the plot, they give it, that's kind of a representation of their relationship, and she gives it back to him at one point, and then he gives it back to her right before she goes on the voyage in the machine, and she has faith. And this comes up to the whole point I really want to make about the characters and that overarching theme, which is it takes faith to be a scientist. We have faith in what compels us. She has faith in the information sent by the aliens that she's been waiting all of her life to be contacted by. The name of the movie is Contact, and that's the whole point of the whole movie. He's talking about it in the interview, about contact with just people, each other, and how alone we feel. And she feels so alone because she's lost her dad, and then her whole goal in life after that is to make contact. And she has so much faith in what these aliens, this intelligence has sent them, the plans for this thing, and she's like, we don't need this chair. And then it turns out that the chair is dangerous. And if that compass hadn't floated out and after it because it meant so much to her. She would have been in that chair when it smashed up against the wall, and it would have killed her. And so it's like a representation of her faith in, you know, what she really believes in, what makes sense to her, what drives her and motivates and inspires her. And the compass is like a representation of his faith as a believer in God, that, you know, God's looking out for us and that he's doing little things, miraculous things like a compass floating out and saving our lives because we wanted it so bad. You know, she unbolted herself from the chair. It saved her. So I like that interaction of those two characters and how much they love each other, but they have a hard time getting past their differences when really they both are more alike than she really wants to believe, and it's about her. You know, I think she makes a good character arc because by the end, I think she starts to realize that she has faith just as much as all the people that she disagrees with, and you know, science does require faith. I do like Tom's point about the ending. You know, 2001, Close Encounters. There has to be enough left for our insides for the movie to resonate with each one of us personally. And if aliens are too concrete and they're too, you know, it just turns into bad science fiction because it's hard to imagine something so unimaginable. So yeah, I think the characterization here is great. I think the theme of science and faith and what faith really is wonderful. And I also do think the effects are pretty good. There was some really neat stuff in there that it was so cutting edge. Even the opening sequence where you're like backing away from Earth and you back out through time into the beginning of the universe, and that the shot in the mirror was I still freak out about how they did that every time I watch it. I'm like, that is just amazing. That's something Stanley Kubrick would have thought of. It's you know, there was some really brilliant stuff in here. There was some stuff that, you know, you look at it now and by today's more stoic, nihilistic standards, it seems a little bit schmaltzy, but this movie is, I've seen it so many times that, you know, something can kind of lose its oomph if you've seen it too many times, but when I really think about it, it's just so tight and it's so good. And Brenda, it's way better than the book. I've read the book, and the book does exactly what Carl Sagan said not to do. It's too descriptive. It's too concretely descriptive when they go through the worm, get in the machine and go through and there's too many people in that sequence, and the movie's way better than the book, and the plot was developed for so much longer before they made the movie that I think it's just, I read the book once and I was like, meh. So I would say don't waste your time on the book, but then the curiosity factor might get the better of you, and I wouldn't blame you for reading it either. So I'll shut up there. NV5.
All right, thank you, Virginia. I'm really enjoying this discussion. This is the insight people have, I think, is really great. When we get a good movie or one that is thought-provoking, I think that really everybody shines. KG5BZW, Jay, your final comments. Go ahead.
This is KG5BZW. Hopefully my phone doesn't die while doing this. I've got plugged in, but the charging cord's not great. So, let's see, what do I want to say? Yeah, Virginia said something about faith. I'm hoping I don't go too much on a tangent here, but it reminded me of the fact that faith can have so many forms. A favorite quote from an anime. Yes, I'm going a little bit outbound here. Granted, this is the English translation of it. Believe
you that believes in yourself. That's not strictly the same as believing in yourself. That's believing in the person that is you, that believes in yourself. And it's a really interesting way to have faith in yourself without, not necessarily being, it's not declaring yourself to be some supreme being or whatever. It's like if you're having trouble and oh gosh, I don't know. There's a lot to discuss on that. I figure I'd have to discuss the particular anime it's from just to actually explain it, but it still crosses on the matter of faith, but there's so many ways faith can be, and it's not so much that we always have to invoke a higher being or whatever. It's that you still have reason to believe, but the reason to believe can be many things, which is why the reason I bring that up is because that's part of what this film is about. Is it doesn't strictly supreme being as the nebulous as nebulously described often in American culture. You don't have to be atheist. You don't have to be agnostic. You don't have to be anything. But anyway, okay. So I said my point on that. Sorry, I can't read the comments while transmitting here. The other bit, the special effects. I was kind of surprised at how much the special effects. Yes, of course, the camera shot. I completely forgotten that shot was in this film. I'm sure others can agree on that. Even the large, the constructed machine, how it all went down. I'm not sure what all was. I know computer graphics were this was late '90s, so let's put it this way: there's been some cheesy movies, and in terms of graphics, music graphics, and I didn't really see much of anything that was cheesy. I could tell. Okay, it looks like it was rendered. Yeah, sure, but it still held up. The other thing I wanted to talk about is just I love the antagonism that could. It was the way to describe it. It wasn't antagonism so much as just the play of what kind of relationship there was in between Jodie and I'm sorry, I'm going to use the actors' names instead of the characters because I forget. I know Jodie, I know Matthew, so I just that interplay was nice. I mean, there's great antagonists here too, but just just the fluctuation of between how that was kind of was not bad. Yeah, that covers everything. KG5 Easy Days.
All right, thank you, Jay. I'm going to zip on down the list here. Jimmy, KD5LQD, your final thoughts. Go ahead.
I only want to comment about the realism of the first machine getting blasted apart. Stuff like that really does affect me because I grew up in Oklahoma, and usually we would sit on the back porch with the popcorn and watch the tornadoes go by through the field, and it was just, that was entertainment for the day. But I was in one tornado where everything was flying around, and it's amazing that nothing hit me, nothing hit my family members. To be right there in it is really something. And when that thing blew apart, that was very, very well done. KG5 LQD.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. I agree with you on that. Bill, W5BLT, go ahead.
Okay, I don't have much to add. I feel bad. Like I said, I was a little lost in the movie, and so I'm going to go back and watch it again. I've got more information now, and I think it'll be more enjoyable. And this is probably one, I'll have to look. Maybe Amazon or somebody has it with descriptive video. I think I would enjoy that with the descriptive video and maybe get a lot more out of it. I did like the music, and I did like the sound effects. Like I said, it was great in 5.1 surround sound. And so I really enjoyed the quality of the sound, the dialogue. We always talk about that, and I hate to beat a dead horse. But in that regard, I thought the audio was very well done, and of course, being blind and also having hearing impairment. I appreciated the dialogue as far as the clarity. Even with the 5.1 surround, how movies are just made, and they concentrate so much on the special effects that they forget that we actually want dialogue. So even though I had some gaps where I couldn't follow what was going on because of some lack of dialogue, there was it was well done mic quality, and I don't want to beat that dead horse, but I did enjoy that. So I'll go back with all the information you guys have given me, and then we'll go back and watch it a third time. And Tom, I want to thank you for all you've done on this net, by the way, as well. W5BLT.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Bill, and I'm glad you get a chance to go back. And yeah, the descriptive video probably helped. You're definite disadvantage on some of these films, so I understand. Next up would be Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, your final thoughts.
Yeah, this is WB50ZL. I didn't care for the music at all, and that's unusual. I just thought most of it missed the mark. Some of it was fine. Of course, the special effects were spectacular, and the scenery was gorgeous. Everything was wonderful. It was good. And I really don't have too much more to say than that. So much has been said already. We've had a great discussion this night. It's fun. So I'm going to turn it back. This is WB50ZL.
Okie dokie. No harm, no foul. Next up is David. David, W5EBB. He decided he had some comments. So David, go ahead from KE5ICX.
I just finished watching it again, and I was just considering that last scene where it's the discussion about the 18 hours of static that was recorded. that mechanism was designed to create that vision. Similar to what David Bowman experienced in 2001: Space Odyssey. You know, did he really experience it, or was it just a vision that was projected by the advanced aliens? Anyway, yeah. So I would have left that scene out in retrospect. And the other favorite line from the movie is, "Why build one when you can buy two for twice the price?" That's relevant to me because we have to pass the state budget next week. W5EBB.
All right, thank you, David, and thanks for your comments. Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, go ahead, your final comments.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, pretty well agree with everybody. The special effects were solid. They still hold up pretty good today. So I think that's saying quite a bit. And the music, I'm kind of in the middle. Wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. It's just okay. Yeah, I do think the acting was pretty good in this. Just which may be kind of an unpopular comment, but I actually don't think Jodie and Matthew are actually very good actors in my opinion. I normally avoid their stuff like the plague, but I actually thought they did a decent job of this one, so that's kind of why I bring that up. I thought they did okay. I initially did not see this at the theaters because they were in it, and didn't watch it till later. So I will give them credit for doing a good job in this film. Just kind of a clarification on the ending. I know everybody, you know, in 2001, I agree. It was a perfect kind of ending not to reveal the aliens. And this one ain't so much necessary that I wanted to see them. I just want to know more about them. It was just so vague. You know, I just would have liked them to go a little more in depth. You know, that's all I was kind of looking for. I was just looking for a little more fight from her in the end to get the proof. And personally, I like the fact that they actually added that scene at the end to let you know that it was legit. You know, I'm not one to really like to leave loose ends in a movie. Sometimes mystery can be good, but, you know, I want there to be a little bit of clarification. So, anyway, I got enjoyed it like always. Looking forward to the next one. Thanks everybody for awesome comments. Thank you, Don, for doing this. KB9SOK.
Okay, Sean, thanks for your comments. K5MCD, Cody, your final comments, my friend.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Well, I think the effects, I think you nailed it. The effects, the fact that they hold up pretty well today is a testament to the fact that they were pretty good. I do think they hold up fairly well. The one scene that seemed a little off and kind of took me out of the film was the scene with John Hurt floating in space. There's just something about that scene that seemed a little like it was kind of slapdash put together and a little off. All the mechanics and the physics of the scene just seemed goofy. As far as the characters go, loved John Hurt getting to play basically a Bond villain. That was great. Interesting to see him in space without an alien popping out of his chest. The Scarrett character, it was nice to see Viper finally become an astronaut. It was pretty much just Tom Skerritt. McConaughey was a little too on the nose for my taste, with kind of a hip young Billy Graham, which was a little, a bit much. For those of us that remember all the Crusades in the 70s and everything going on, it was a little on the nose. Foster's reaction to a lot of the stuff seemed a little off-putting and over the top. Kind of her bewilderment when Scarrett went up to the stage to give the speech. Kind of her, you know, loss for words when McConaughey asked her to prove that she loved her father or something. It seemed a little bit much and a little unbelievable for someone supposedly so intelligent, for a character so intelligent. And I do think that everything from her was a little overacted. It could have been a little more subdued. That's about all I got. K5MCD.
All right, very good. Good comments, all. I'm just going to close this thing out because we're coming up at midnight. What was I going to say about this? Oh, the special effects and things. Yeah, I think that the special effects were well done, considering the zero-G stuff did look a little wonky. I agree with you there. The hurt scenes were kind of weird anyway, but I don't know. We've seen weird ads like that with, what is it, the apartments.com? I don't know. At any rate, overall, I enjoyed the film. I thought the characterizations were good. There was sometimes a little cringeworthy. I agree. There were a few times that I went, I don't know, is this kind of a Bond villain-ish, like you said. And McConaughey was okay. I think he was pretty engaging. Now, the one thing you can say is that when you get two actors that you're not particularly fond of and they actually turn in good performances, you can probably blame that on the director because he's telling them what to do. So maybe our director is actually pretty good in that regard. So keep that in mind. Other parts of it, yeah, I enjoyed the opening sequence. I thought it was pretty cool because that's what Arthur C. Clarke, what Carl Sagan has said. Says we're sending signals out into space and we'll get discovered someday. And indeed, the opening credits in that suggest exactly that. It goes back in time, meaning that the signals get. And then finally, the final, 2 or 3 minutes opening credits, it's silence because it hasn't gone that far yet. And it could go plenty further, which is pretty cool. I like that idea. The fact that we could be being discovered every day and we don't even know it, or we will be discovered, and we could be discovered and gone already, extinct, sun blown up, that sort of thing. I think that's really kind of cool, and that set the tone for the film, which I really, really liked. Let's see, what else do I want to say? There was something I was going to say and I forgot, but it's getting late. Okay, I'm going to end it here just because it's midnight and I only got a short nap today, so I'm pretty bushed. But next week's movie is going to be, I believe, unless I find something better, a very bizarro Japanese film. It doesn't have the date on it. I'm guessing around 1950 something, called Atomic Rulers of the World. And I watched some of the opening. It is just bizarre. But at any rate, it's Japanese, so it's got to be something. Atomic Rulers of the World, I'll send the information out so you guys can have it. And if I find something better or different or something, I'll consider it. There have been some pretty good films available for free online with ads that kind of you want to pay attention to those because they come and they go so quickly. But we'll see. This one still maybe is bizarro enough for everybody. All right, with that, I'm going to say 7-3 to everybody. Thank you again. As you know, I'm going to be leaving town next month. I want you to think about how you might be able to handle this net and, of course, Skynet as well. I won't disappear. I'll continue to do scripts and that for Skynet. I may even host or do NCS duties remotely, but that gets to be problematical. But we'll see. So think about how you might want to be net controls. I know a few people have stepped forward and you may want to do this on a regular basis. I know it gets tiring to do it every single week, but you might be able to alternate out and that sort of thing. But please think about it. We still got a few weeks left before I disappear into the ether myself. But again, thank you all. I've enjoyed the heck out of this net. It's secretly my favorite, just because we get to talk about stuff that's fun and engaging, and sometimes terrible and not fun and disengaging. But anyway, variety is the spice of life. All right, see you all. I'm going to go and watch a little bit of Lost in Space. Not my favorite episode. I think it's The Questing Beast with a beagle with glasses and Hans Conried as the conquistador. Yeah, it's that bad. See you all. 7-3. This is KE5ICX clear. I killed it.
Timeout. Timer. Reset. Repeater enabled.
You timed out, Tom, N5SQA.
Yeah, I forgot that it switched over to after midnight, so yeah, that's me. Bozo alert. Okay, see y'all later. Bye. KE5ICX clear.